Let's talk about some applications of slope. Now, first things first, slope is the rate of change. And when we talk about a rate, we talk about a fraction where the numerator and the denominator have different units. So we're talking about miles per hour, or degrees per hour, or meters per second, any kind of a rate. So let's do a couple of problems here where we talk about the application. Now, the temperature at 8 a.m. was 56 degrees, and 8 hours later, the temperature was 78 degrees. What was the average rate of warming? So the average rate of warming would be the slope of this. Now, the slope would be kind of the steepness of the line if we chose to graph this. But if you are talking about the rate, you are talking about the slope. It's a constant change, okay? So the change over time in this case. Now, if we think about this, we could say, okay, so the ending temperature was 78 and it began at 56. So we know the difference in temperatures, and we know there were 8 hours. So we divide by the number of hours. So for units, right, we have degrees in the numerator and hours in the denominator, because rate is slope is the rate of change. We got to talk about the units. All right, so in the numerator, 78 minus 56 is 22, and then we have that over 8. Now, you could leave this as a fraction. We could reduce that to be 11 over 4. That might be hard to say, like the average rate of warming was 11 degrees every 4 hours. Well, what about per 1 hour? Well, if we divide the top and the bottom by 4 so that we could have a denominator of 1, we would get 2.75 degrees per hour. So what it means is the temperature warmed, since that was the wording it used, warmed by 2.75 degrees per hour, or each hour. So that's one type of example. And it's good if you can write a sentence that shows you understand what it means. Let's do one more. The population of a town in 2010 was 11,430, and in 2020 was 8,960. What was the average rate of population change over this time period? Well, I always like to start with most recent. So if I say 8,960, and we're going to subtract, right, what was the change in population? And it decreased, right? So from 2010 to 2020, over those 10 years, it decreased. So if I subtract in the numerator and take 8,960 minus 11,430, I get a negative 2,470 over 10. So again, this is the population decrease because of the negative here. So this many people, 2,470 people over 10 years. Now we can reduce that by dividing the numerator and the denominator by 10. So we would get negative 247 over 1. That means the population decreased. And again, I know it decreased 1 because it was 11,000, it changed to 8, or we have this minus sign which shows a decrease. So the population decreased an average of 247 people per year. Again, the rate, the per tells us kind of the fraction bar, but you always want to have 2 units. The numerator and the denominator are both going to have units. What does that tell you? If you'd like more video, you can visit my website at www.themenninggroup.com, or feel free to just send me an email. Tell me what you need to see or want to see at themenningroup@gmail.com.